Ana de Armas has shown that she can handle herself against baddies and physical threats. But now we get a news story from the world of John Wick with Ballerina. This isn't the first time de Armas and Reeves have faced off against each other, but now they are both highly trained and deadly. So does this newest entry into the John Wick universe keep to the spirit of the franchise? An assassin trained in the traditions of the Roma organization sets out to seek revenge after her father's death. So now we've got Ana de Armas playing the sultry assassin Eve. Now she's deadly, skilled, and driven. And the story shares a lot with the original John Wick film, where the basic premise rests on the idea of vengeance and a killer who's going to stop at nothing to finish their job. Now, I recently rewatched the first John Wick film, and I was surprised at how much of the story wasn't violent. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this wasn't a fight fest, but for the first installment, the story actually took its time to build out the character of John, to give his grief meaning and depth, which then made the revenge story all the more palpable and satisfying. And that's what we get here in Ballerina. There is an exciting opening scene, and then the story takes a huge step back to build out the character of Eve. And we've been shown why she'd want revenge, but for it to make sense that she can actually take down dudes twice her size and have it be believable, we also need to watch her first suck and then get better. And all while doing this, her character is being built, showing some of her stamina, her integrity, even her drive, and then how the Roma differs a bit from some of the other clans. And this aspect, I think it's important too for the larger story. It's not a belabored point, but instead it's really just a simple line of dialogue, but it instantly informs us of Eve's responsibility within the Roma. So all of that is to say that at the beginning of the movie, it isn't action-packed and full of gunfights and people being offed. I mean, we get fights and a couple of explosions, but for the first third-ish of the film, this is simply building out the character to connect us to Eve so we have some sort of vested interest, just like we were given with Wick. Now, I was surprised with the story for this. I mean, first, we go to a movie like this to just see epic butt kicking, and we definitely are served that. But there was some heart to the storyline that I wasn't fully expecting. Now, some of it was contrived and a little bit forced, and I'll get to that in just a second, but I was still invested in the plot because I got to know Eve and then was shown some crazy fight sequences. And while the main arc of this is revenge, part of that revolves around a different clan. And while we're given a basic understanding of what they are, or really maybe who they are, they still come across as underdeveloped. And clans, they're not something new within this world. Over the course of the 4 Wick films, we got to see several different versions. So to not have a ton of development on them, it's not necessarily strange. But since this entire story is dependent on this particular clan, and then its tie to Eve, the missing information building blocks, it made them less sinister than the dialogue leads us to believe they are. I mean, they're treated like monsters that hide under the bed and look to steal children, at least within the lore that surrounds the clan and how dangerous they are. But why they've chosen the particular lifestyle they have and how the themes of family work within their structure, they were obscured and left me wanting to know a lot more about their history or purpose. And because of that lack of background, all of the buildup around them, and then even the supposed surprises that reside within the clan, they weren't as impactful as they could have been. Now, aside from Ana de Armas, we get some larger roles from Angelica Houston, Ian McShane, and Gabriel Byrne. And one actor I didn't expect to see, but was a very welcome surprise, was Lance Reddick. I don't know if this was archival footage that then they spliced in, or if he was alive when they shot this, but it was really awesome to see Sharon once more inside the Continental. Now, Norman Reedus also makes an appearance here, and it truly looks like he just stumbled right off the set of his Walking Dead spinoff. And he's looking as shaggy and ragged as ever. Now, if you are looking to root him on through the movie, he's barely in the film. So for any Daryl or maybe Murph McManus fans, temper your excitement there. And because this is within the John Wick universe and this particular story takes place around the end-ish of number 3 but before 4, you can expect at least a cameo from Keanu Reeves in his iconic role. And while I liked all of the main actors that we get in this, it's really the Eve show, and the story certainly delivers when it comes to both the drama and the thrills. I mean, de Armas is a fighting machine within this. There are more than a few drawn-out battles that encompass everything that we have grown to love about this world of assassins. From tight, close-quarters, hand-to-hand fighting to the improvised weapons, and then brutally beautiful shots that carry the same excitement as the Hotline Miami sequence in number 4. There's a distinct point within this story, too, where the action and violence kicks in, and from then on, it doesn't really let up. Now, there's a point within the film that began to feel like it was borrowed from Hot Fuzz. And we know from the Wick films that there is an alarming number of contract killers in the world just everywhere. And at one point, Eve encounters a seemingly never-ending stream of assassins. And while this might sound just absolutely ludicrous and stupid, because of the setup, it makes perfect sense. And the teaser trailer showed us just a sampling of some of the crazy stunts that we're going to get. I wish it wouldn't have shown all that it did, because I didn't even see that before watching the movie, so all of the stunt work, it was just a wonderful surprise. Now, I was impressed with the fight choreography and the way the camera captured the action. More often than not, we didn't have a massively cut-up sequence, but instead we were allowed to watch the punches, kicks, body blows, even personal explosions right in a constant view. And then there's a certain level of character protection that's built in for Eve. I mean, she still takes some serious beatings, and more than a couple of times I really wasn't sure if she was going to get up, but she definitely survives more than she probably should, especially for someone who doesn't have a bulletproof suit like Wick does. Now, I did appreciate that through several fight scenes, small bits of levity were inserted. I mean, it's not jokes or anything silly that detracted from the tension, but through the natural course of a battle within the particular environment, the weapon improvisation, it just became funny, simply because of the circumstances. For as impressive as the action was, not all of it was flawless, though. There were times when the fights seemed to stutter a bit, like it was being sped up, or maybe two takes were being spliced together at a key moment. And these didn't break the suspense, but they were obvious enough that I was able to notice them and have them stand out. The movie's just a little bit over 2 hours, and I did begin to feel the time somewhat. Not that I was bored or even unengaged, it's just that after spending a good amount of time building out Eve and her mission, which I do appreciate, I began to feel curious about how much longer the story had, despite being completely enthralled in the violent action. And despite obvious character protection, underdeveloped antagonists, and some visual wonkiness within some of the action scenes, Ballerina delivers a thrillingly savage action film full of the brutal hand-to-hand combat, exciting weapons maneuvers, and surprising moments of destruction that we've come to expect. Ana de Armas rose to the occasion, creating a mysterious but seductive killer with skills that feel legitimate thanks to all of her character building. Is she as deadly or as accomplished as John Wick? No, but she doesn't have to be for this story. We need her to have an unstoppable drive and the tools to carry it out, and this provides it. It's going to be interesting to see what else is explored within the world of John Wick, but for now, Ballerina was satisfying and gnarly and just the violent escape that I needed. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and just a bit of violence. I mean, come on. Of course there's an immense amount of brutality. That's why we're here, right? I give Ballerina 4 out of 5 couches. So within the John Wick world, which is your favorite installment? Then also, would you be interested in seeing more from different perspectives within this universe? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.